Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I am going to be recreating some of my childhood art. This video was inspired by both Mariah Elizabeth and Nerdforge. I will link their videos down below in the description box if you would like to watch those after this one. Thanks to them for giving me inspiration to film my own. So here I have a bunch of different like sketchbooks. I have just little paper books, and then I also have some like individual art. Some of these are like actually from when I was a kid, and then some of these are from a couple years ago, so it's just kind of able to see of how much I've progressed over the years. So I'm excited, and let's get into looking at some childhood artwork. Let's start with these. So these are some of the ones from like elementary school. So let's look through some of these, and I'll show you guys any that I'm kind of interested in or that are kind of just funny. Here's one. So I'm assuming a sunset, and like someone standing, probably supposed to be myself, standing at like the base of a mountain, I think. So there's nothing really else in that book. So let's look at this one. So this one was with writing in it. This is supposed to be myself and my mom. I'm assuming that this is my mom. Oh, this one I found kind of funny. I showed this to my mom. So this animal here is supposed to be a zebra, but I thought it was a cat. A lot of the stuff in here was stuff from middle school. This is when I more started to get into drawing people. Let's maybe go back into this sketchbook. It's a pretty good drawing of a cat. It's pretty good, 2018. But I think this was more at the time when I kind of started to fall into more of an art style, or started to more experiment with my different art styles and find what I like to draw. So here's some eyes again. Let me see. So I have this sketchbook. This is all brown paper. So here I started to kind of experiment with watercolor, which is one of my favorite mediums now to work with. Actually, I have this drawing of an ice cream cone, which this is kind of around the time like when I started to watch Mariah Elizabeth when I was in grade 9. So just at the beginning of high school, I started to watch Mariah Elizabeth. She's one of my favorite YouTubers now. I have a couple drawings of people in here. This is like when like I found my style with people. But here's like an elf. I drew this in woodwork class. Yes, I did take woodworking. I'm not very good at it, but I took it. And then there's this sketchbook, which I've had for a while. So this is actually the sketchbook that I did the drawing of how to draw a mermaid video. That I'll also link that one down below as well. So here's this one. So this has come from a couple of years ago. Yeah, and I drew and posted this one on my Instagram, which is IzzyBee Crafts. If you would like to follow me on Instagram. So I have this, which this was actually like a plaster scene draw, like art piece. So my teacher had gotten us some and wanted us to make a art piece. So I made a deer with wings on a pink sky and teal clouds. Yeah, I'll just pick from one of these. I'll just pick a few, but I think it'll take me a while to decide which one I would like to paint, or not paint, but remake. Okay, so switching over to voiceovers, I have chose my 3 art pieces that I will be doing. I am going to be doing the plaster scene, the elf drawing, and a eye. So I'm starting with the elf drawing, and I'm going to be doing all in pencil like the original one. Grabbing my new sketchbook with all my stickers and my pencil case with my pencils in it. And grabbing everything I will need for drawing. Whee! And then I will be getting started. I'm starting by drawing the head because I find that that's the thing that I have the most trouble with proportions. And I'm just drawing a circle and then the center line and then drawing out the shape of the head. So then once I have the shape of the head, I put in the horizontal center line and then I start to block out the shapes for the body. So a tip for drawing is that whenever you look at something that you're wanting to draw, you always try and find the shapes in the thing that you're wanting to draw. So now I am just lightening the sketch with a kneaded eraser so I can refine it a bit more and smooth out the lines. So then I just like to switch over to a mechanical pencil when it comes to refining my sketch because I find that I can get more precise lines with a mechanical pencil. And I'm also just filling out spaces as well and making sure that my proportions look at least somewhat correct. So now I am just doing the clothing for the elf. I am drawing inspiration from the original, but then adding some new things to it as well. Now I am just erasing all of the lines that I don't want to show through on the final drawing. And then I am adding some final details like a necklace and the inside of the leaves. Now I'm just adding texture to the hair. And then I'm just adding some shading to certain parts of the drawing to add different values to it. Now I am adding the vine crown around the head, starting with the base of the vine. And now just adding leaves onto that vine as well. Now I'm just adding other details to the drawing. So now I am dating the artwork. This is the original drawing that I drew. And this is the new drawing. I still really like the old one, but you can definitely tell there's improvement with the new one. So for the second recreation, I chose to do an eye. And the eye that I chose to do was the heart one for Valentine's Day. So for this drawing, I'm using different materials. I am using Bristol board to draw on. And I am starting out with a sketch of the eye. With these kinds of drawings of eyes, I like to draw the lid partially closed so then I can add more detail to the lid. With this version of the drawing, I wanted to add more elements to the design that were themed around Valentine's Day. So as you can see, even in the sketch, it's quite a bit more busy than the original one. So now I am just using some Prismacolor pencils that I got for a grad gift this year from my mom. So thanks, Mom, for that. And I am just coloring in the eye and making sure to layer the different colors to get the payoff that I want. So I wanted the eyebrow to be brown and then the eyeshadow on the eye to be pink and red. And then I just took some glue and different pigments and mixed them together to make like a shiny glue and painted that on the drawing for it to be shiny.
Hello there.
So I am coloring the eye a warm brown to match the eyebrow, but also to bring in some warmness from the other colors that I used in the drawing. I'm using a gray to add shading to the eye. And then I am just coloring the rest of it in with another warm brown. So now I'm just using that same pencil to add texture to the iris and blending the colors together with a white pencil. I'm lining the top eyelid with black and then coloring in the pupil as well. So now I'm adding eyelashes and eyeliner with the pencil and a pen and outlining all of the details in the drawing. And I just used a Posca for white dots and coloring in the sparkles with the with some sparkly glue. Alright, so this is the original drawing that I did. And then this is the new one that I did. Again, I still like the original one, but I like all the elements that I added to this and what I've learned over the years. So now I am moving on to this plaster scene, and I am going to be painting it. So I just took a wood block and sanded the edges. So now I am just priming the wood block with some white gesso. And I did 2 layers of the gesso to make sure that the block was nice and white and prepped for painting. So I got these paints for Christmas again from my mom, and they were completely unexpected, but they are Mariah Elizabeth's paints, and this is like the first time that I actually am using them on a bigger project. So now I am just going to be mixing up the background color. I'm taking strawberry and mixing that with a little bit of orange fishy. So now I'm just taking that mixed color and I'm painting that on the gesso board. I did 2 coats of this. So now I'm just taking a green from some Winsor Newton acrylic paints and mixing that with Pickle from the Mariah Elizabeth paints to make a mid-tone green for the grass. So now I'm painting on the green in kind of a wavy line. And I have been painting the edges of the wood board for the gesso and the pink paint. So I'm taking a light, a dark, and that mid-tone green and stamping that on with a bristle brush. And then I just took chocolate milk and lightened it up a bit for the tree. And I use Derp and Pickle and a bit of a different green to mix up the teal for the clouds. So I did 3 coats of the teal for the clouds. For this painting, I wanted it to have more of a cartoony look to it, so I kept everything fairly blocky. So I mixed up a darker teal for the clouds and painted shadows on the bottom of them, and I did several coats of this dark teal. So then I just lightened up that original teal and watered it down a little bit, and I painted that on the top of the clouds for highlights. So I drew a deer and then I just resized it and printed it off. And what I am doing is I am just testing to see if it will first of all look proper or correct on the painting, and then I colored the back of it for a graphite transfer, and I'm just taping it down onto the board. So then I just took a pen and drew over all of my lines. And then I lifted up the print, and the graphite transfer actually worked better than I thought it would. So now I'm just doing the same thing for the wing of the deer. Drawing some graphite on the back, placing it down where I want it, and then taping it in place. And then going over the lines with a pen. So I remember that with the original art piece, our teacher came in and told us that she wanted us to create a fantasy scene. So she told us that she didn't want us to create like a scene from real life, but wanted us to create something of our own. So I came up with a deer with wings against a pink sky and teal clouds. So now I'm just taking Bumble Bear from Mariah Elizabeth's paints and taking Violet from Montmartre, and I am using those to paint the wings. So I mixed the Bumble Bear and the Montmartre paint together just to create a darker color for some shadows and outlining. And then I also just mixed up a warm tan color for the deer, and I'm outlining that with a darker tan. And I just mixed the warm tan color with some white for a light tan. So I mixed the Bumble Bear color with some white and watered it down like with the clouds, and I'm blending that on the wings for highlights. So now I'm using the same technique that I used for the grass, but I'm doing it for the tree leaves. And I'm taking a mid-tone green, a dark green, and a light green and stamping it onto the tree. And partway through painting the leaves, I remembered that I wanted to paint on some bark texture, so I did that before I finished painting the leaves. So now I'm taking a light green and painting on some stems and leaves for flowers. And I'm taking a light blue and a light teal for the flowers, as that's what was on the original art piece. And I'm painting different colored petals on each of the flowers. So here is the original plasticine art piece. And then here is the painting I did inspired by the original art piece. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have to say that out of the 3 pieces I did, my favorite one has to be the elf drawing. I just love how it turned out in the process of drawing it. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. Please let me know down below which one is your favorite. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video.